Thank you for staying with us.
Nice looking buildings in that slide.
Would you like to buy one of them?
It depends on the cost and when I'm going to get it.
Yeah, they tell you you'll get it probably in 1 year, in 18 months, but you get it maybe 9 years later.
Do I wait to get my belt when I want to go to a shop to buy it? Okay,
people. So sometimes when you're looking for an accommodation in Lagos, it can be a Herculean task. And sometimes you are so unlucky, you fall into the hands of fraudulent estate developers whom you pay and tell you they're going to deliver to you within 18 months and deliver to you 5 years later. Or you fall into the hands of an estate agent who collects money from you and collects money from 10 others.
Oh, well, I know about that.
Well, that sector. I'm glad to see that Lagos State, according to the SA, to the governor who came, she was our guest about 2-3 weeks ago, was here saying that they were actually making efforts to clean up the sector. But people are still falling victim to all these developers and all these estate agents. Well, we have called some people to give us some clarity in this area, and we have Seyi Olufemi, a property developer. Good morning.
Good morning.
And we also have Rotola Williams, who is a property consultant and director of Grachi and Grachi Limited.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rotola. Good
morning.
Good to see you. Well, I'm going to be speaking from experience because I bought a property from a developer who delivered property to me 2 years later than it was expected. And my major issue, number one, was at the point of collecting the keys to a shell, bills were given to me which had not been discussed earlier. Bills for, VAT, I think VAT was being paid at the time. There was a rumor that VAT had been cancelled on property, is that correct?
Well, you shouldn't have it to rent.
No, to buy.
To buy, no,
well,
not that I'm aware.
You forgive me, Alero, because I can see the legal papers on your lap right now. But before we get into that, let's quickly have a conversation with our correspondent in Osun State. We understand that major contestants in today's primary have been in a war of words months before today's exercise. The incumbent governor, Boyega Oyetola, is seeking another 4-year term to preside over the affairs of the state. There has been no love lost between him and his predecessor, the Minister of Internal Affairs, Ralph Aregbesola, who says Governor Oyetola has not followed the master plan of the state. So those are live visuals from Osun State Primary, early visuals, the ones that came a little earlier. Also in the race for the APC's governorship ticket in Osun State is former Secretary to the State Government, Moshood Adeoti, and former Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, Honorable Lasson Yusuf. We will definitely bring you live updates as they occur. Our correspondent will be bringing us some of those things. Maybe some of the issues that have been raised in Osun State have to do with housing. I won't be able to know, will I?
Well, yes, so VAT on purchase is no longer payable.
They shouldn't charge you for that, ideally.
When was this abrogated?
I'm not sure I have the timeline in mind, but they shouldn't charge you for that. And also, if they're going to charge you anything, they should tell you up front. This is what we're going to charge you.
When were they supposed to have told you?
Up front, before you buy. Before you buy.
Okay.
So if I say this before you buy, it cannot be outside that.
Okay.
Because what it means is I can double the price of my property by charging you some other charge.
So, this bill here is for legal and survey fee, not discussed at the point where I was paying for the property. This is at the point where I want to collect my keys. Legal and survey. This is for improvement fee. I wonder what you're going to improve in a shell that you're selling to me.
Wait. Just
I'm going to finish it myself.
Oh, wait. You're not going to get a finished house?
No. It's a shell.
What does that mean in simple English?
Please, what is a shell?
Well, some people develop a property, they finish the exterior, and then they leave the inside, either just a blockboard or just plastered, without any door, without POP, without tile. It's a form of products that people offer. It allows you the flexibility of finishing to your taste. So instead of removing the finished product and having to do it again. And
Why don't I just build my house from scratch myself?
Well, you don't want to deal with approvals, you don't want to deal with artisans, you just want to get the house and then complete it to your taste. It's popular in the market, actually.
It is.
Because some people prefer it. Let me do my tiling, let me do my POP. I have specific.
And a lot of women don't want to buy cement and buy iron rods.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so what then is the job of an estate developer who can just come to my land and build for me?
You know, you also have something called economies of scale. So if you are building one house, right, you know how much that's going to cost. But if somebody's bringing in cement for 100 houses or 20 houses, they're going to be able to bring down the average cost of the building. And like you rightly said, it's not just women who don't want to be the ones supervising the building. You need to, it's a house, so there has to be some level of technical expertise. So that's where the developer comes in. He brings in his technical expertise. I've worked with Seyi before. I can vouch for him. There's some people I can speak for. Him I can speak for. He has a standard of a quality standard that he meets. I look at the people I'm working with, because in my business, reputation is everything. You understand? So before I work with a developer, I tend to do what they call KYC, know your client. Yeah. Okay. So like I said, I've worked with Seyi before. I can speak for him. Okay. This is Nigeria. We are in a hostile business environment. So there are good developers, there are new, inexperienced developers, and then there are people who, your favorite people who like to cut corners.
Lucky Gardens.
I will not mention any names, right? So there are, different types of developers in the market, and each one of them offers a different product. Okay. Depending on your pocket, your situation, your taste. Yes. You might want to do a shell. Somebody like me, I don't like to be bothered. I might just tell him, just do the whole thing for me. The most I might say is, okay, I want my fridge from Germany, or my gas oven from Italy.
Finish the house.
Finish the house for me.
I can redo.
No, they have various estates. Some of them are just exclusively shell, and some are exclusively finished. So you choose which one you want to buy into.
Just a moment, Mr. I want you to help educate many people, because just as she has said, I mean, there are those who will go into these partnerships, let me call it that, for the sake of the conversation. They go into these partnerships with high expectations, only to get at the end, or rather towards the end of the race, you're having all these other figures thrown in.
The goalpost has been shifted.
Yeah, so the question that I would want to ask you is, first of all, how proper is to sign some papers with a grand total at the end, only for me at the point of collecting what you promised to give me, to be having, okay, well, you need to add this before I give you the keys. How proper is that? Is this something that is popular in the market as well?
Well, there's two questions there. How proper is it? We both know it's highly improper. Is it popular in the market? Yes. Some people do it, but I think the starting...
Slow down, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I don't want to name any names because obviously I have experience.
I don't want you to name
experience, so
I don't want you to name any names.
Yes. Is it popular in the market? Yes, it is.
Okay,
your situation is not unique.
It is improper.
It is improper,
but it is popular.
But it is popular.
Okay, speak to that then we'll talk about the regulatory end.
I think part of it is if you are going to buy a house is a huge investment. Whether most people can do it for their as a pension, or you're starting a family, it's a huge investment. So what I've noticed in my time here in Lagos is people don't start entering those investments with the right people. You need to get a professional realtor and a lawyer to work with you. Those people they will have experience in the market, so they'll be able to tell you at the point that you're doing your contract with your developer that, okay, this is what I want, I don't want this. It's up to you, the buyer, to now decide on what you want. If you start every transaction with a lawyer and every land transaction with either a professional realtor or a lawyer, then you're starting on solid ground. So your lawyer will ask those questions that you might not necessarily ask. You understand? If Alera had come to, well, I don't know, any of the law firms, they would have said to her, okay, have you asked them these questions? When did they say they're going to get your building ready? What happens if they don't get the building ready on time? What is your development levy or improvement levy? You know, because once you built your house
you put your fingers like that.
Yes, because some people call it development levy, some people call it improvement levy. Once you built your house in the estate, right, your contract, your original contract will say you can't bring a generator on there, right?
Yeah.
So you have to connect to the grid.
Yeah.
And it's at that point that they'll tell you need to pay 3.5, 5.5 to connect to the grid. And what can you do? You have to.
Yeah, but this is not proper, is it? You should be told all this at the point you're paying for the property.
Let me ask you.
So you know to put away this money. When you go to collect the keys, you present them with the money.
The question
they don't tell you anything.
The question that I want to ask Mr. Olufemi on that is, I mean, you also agree it's improper, right?
I agree it's improper.
You also agree that it is popular.
Yeah, it is very popular.
Okay, very popular.
Very popular.
So then it suggests that government is aware
for you guys.
And is looking the other way.
No, I don't think we should call it that way. Let me say this too. So, first of all, when you're going into a contract, just like you said, the first thing is to ask, what are all the fees that I need to pay? Most people never ask. And
so the developer is taking advantage of that.
Well, to an extent, yes. Then two, also, I'm not trying to defend that practice, but let me put it this way. For example, when we sell, we say, okay, this house is this one. This is all the fee you're going to pay. So you know it from the beginning. It's stated in the contract.
Thank you.
But what you see at the end of the day is a lot of people now start arguing, this is too much, that is too much, this is too much. But it's better to fight it at the beginning. But we've lost customers because of that.
Okay.
You understand? So, you know, that is, so a lot of people just say, you know,
customers when
because
you
they
tell
look at
them
it, this
the other fees.
Fee, yeah, for example, we have a project we're doing. We say, look, you pay 47. Your other fees, including legal, this and that, is 3.5 million. This is what it covers.
Okay.
You understand? You find people would, because of that 3.5,
so they're not
they
buying.
say they're not doing. So you know, so if you're not clear, you know, it takes some. You know, it's not. Sometimes you just wonder, like, okay, I would charge this one. There's some, and they'll put it there. Other development fees that would come. If you check your contract, you will see that they've indicated that other fees will be at the time of handing over. They just didn't tell you the amount.
Yeah, and
so,
when that time comes, they can put any amount that comes to their heads.
So now, which brings it back to what, at the beginning, if anybody is buying, you need to ask what are other fees, and you need to say, sign off that I'm not paying any other thing. In fact, people ask, my service charge within the estate, what is the range? You should ask. How do you plan to review it? People ask us that question.
Yes.
So those are things that can be clear. But I just don't want us to... There are two things you raised when you first of all asked me the question. The issue of delivery on time and the issue of all these other fees. We've, you know... So this is what we're talking about now.
Yes.
So
and you have agreed that the buyer should be told at the point of purchase.
Nobody should be ambushed.
There are additional fees which you will pay when you come to collect your key.
Exactly.
And it will range between this and this.
Exactly.
Give them an idea.
Exactly.
Because they're not all politicians who can just whip 10 million from their handbags and give to you.
Someone is going to have to ask you, you know, to corroborate that if that is true, that a politician can just... But if that is true...
I've not dealt with
No, she's the one. But if that is the case, Mr. Olufemi, isn't there some regulatory or a supervisory responsibility or some agency that is supposed to ensure protection of the people? From
Consumer Protection
Yes, from such...
Council.
I don't even... is the word Shylock practice?
Things are getting better. If you've followed the news in recent time, there are laws that are coming into place. And then I think the current administration, I'm not a politician, so I'm not speaking for them. There are quite a lot of initiatives that are going on. It will take a while. But before now, the regulatory environment was very lax. Which is why you see a lot of, there are no standardized
sharp practice.
There are no standardized, this is what should be done. And then also, because we don't have database of transactions, if you're buying, for example, there are listing platforms, you can see everything. If you're buying outside this climb, you can compare cost, you can know what the fees will be, you can, so we don't have that, and it's going to take a while.
Now, look, I have a friend who paid for a property in 2013 before she retired, and it was supposed to be her retirement home. She still has not got delivery of the property to this day. So maybe I should be asking the lawyer, can she seek redress, and what should she do?
Of course she can.
2013, it's 9 years now.
Yes, of course. Well, that's an inordinately long time. Yes, she can seek redress, and she probably ought to have done something on it by now.
She hasn't. It's
well,
a
she
woman.
needs to. Well, that's why I say when you do land transactions, because of the nature of land transactions, it's very important to get lawyers involved from the day you decide from the get-go. If you have a lawyer on it, the person will be the one to be harassing the. Well, I say harassing, but they'll be on it. They'll be on the developer.
It's a proper word.
When is the delivery going to come on? I've seen some of the luxury units in Ikoyi, some of the high-end luxury units. Some of those developers, what they'll do, if they do a late delivery, they might say, okay, we've done a late delivery, so we're going to give you a compromise on maybe your service charge or whatever it is. They'll have some sort of compromise on there. But the most important thing is, if you're buying land, any land, you must get a lawyer involved. The developers themselves, they run into issues. You enter a contract with somebody, you believe that you are able to start, and then when you want to start, a whole bunch of thugs come along and tell you that it's their land. What do you do? Those are some of the factors that can delay delivery of a project. And if you're a developer, maybe you've hired a bulldozer, you've paid your, however much it is, 5 million, 10 million a day, and each day you can't work, adds money to the project. So there are a whole range of...
Is there a role for government in that? I'm asking that advisedly because at the end of the day, we have it said, we say from time to time that all land in a state belongs to the government, right? Now, you have that kind of a situation, and then some, what do you call landowners? I'm trying not to use the Yoruba word for that.
Land grabber.
They come
land grabbers.
Say,
land
okay,
grabbers.
it's their property. You have to do this before you do this. You have to do that before you do that. So isn't there some, for lack of a better word, complicity of government in this?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, each situation is different. You can have a situation where you're a landowner, you've registered your land, maybe you've not fenced your land, and then you now want to do something with it. When you get there are vagabonds, trespassers, you have to start resorting to the law to get them off. Like I said, it's a hostile business environment, but the profits to be made are very high, so people still go into these transactions. You understand? Now, as per government intervention, there's only so much government can do. Yes, you can. I think Lagos State has a land. They have a section that deals with specifically that deals with land grabbers. They set up something that specifically deals with land grabbers, so you can go to them. But I think, like I said, from day one, anything to do with land, you just make sure you have a lawyer with you, and then you take it from there. At that point, things just become a lot easier because they'll advise you. They'll be able to tell you can get a restraining order here, you can get the police to come in here. There's so many things that they offer, but unfortunately, lawyers are expensive. People don't want to pay them.
Exactly.
Did you say?
You're protecting a very.
Did you say them? I'm just.
We, us.
Okay.
Us.
Okay. Now, the issue of you guys building these estates and insisting on managing the estates. Is that standard practice?
No, it's not. It depends on what you want to do. You don't have to manage the estate.
Good.
You don't have to manage it.
So the homeowners are actually free to just say, we don't want you to manage for us. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that is a possibility, yeah. And people should explore that. For example, for us, I really don't want to manage anything.
Okay.
You know, so it's not, but because it provides residual revenue for developer, so there's an incentive to want to manage. So that's
even if you're doing it badly, and you've been kicked out of many of your estates?
Ideally, this is what the standard practice should be. If you finished and delivered the estate, let's say you manage for a period of time before the owners can come together effectively.
Yeah.
And then the owners should have a say in who manages it, essentially. And you don't have to be the person managing it. Even for some of those who insist, it's also changing, because they now said, no, you can't manage it. We are going to bring a professional facility person to manage. So you can still now have an arrangement that gives you a bit of revenue. Of course, it might not be as what you would have gotten. I'm sure that if the developer is not doing it very well, very few will insist they must manage it. Except, you know, that's why it's very important. The beginning is the most important part. I'm still going to talk about the issue of delay, because using practical experience that we've had.
Okay.
Now, the beginning is the most important part of any transaction when it comes to real estate. It must be clear. Everything must be documented. You cannot, every point must be documented. You know, so, and, you know, unfortunately, you can't, there must be transparency on every side. You must be willing to, you know, let me use my, my example. Now, we started, I'm going to deviate a bit into the issue of delay. We have a project that is some months over the period we're supposed to deliver right now. I'm sure you might be aware. We had moved to that particular site about a year ago, and then suddenly all hell was let loose. In fact, we're done the foundation for 23 duplex units. We're going to the next. Till today, we've not been able to access that land, and we've gone to court twice. Omonile, everything just went awry. Now, but we were lucky. Well, some clients have asked for refund. I think it started March, April last year. Till today, we can access the place.
So when you give them a refund, is it with a premium, taking into cognizance interest rates and all that?
Honestly, we've not paid any premium right now. But because you have a refund of hundreds of millions.
Okay. Now, suppose this friend of mine who paid in 2013 wants her money back.
As a different
lawyer, what should happen?
It depends what's in her contract. It depends what she signed with them.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said it's very important to get a lawyer in from the very beginning. There should be a clause in there of what would happen if the developer breaches the contract.
Is it too late now?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Hear the lawyers. I'm interested in this issue that you raised, Mr. Olufemi, because you know, those people that you're talking about now, you are clearly concerned about them as well, not being the fact that you're not able to deliver to them. Some of them probably already have their lives planned out around that. So what then are the options for you? Because I asked about, you know, the function of government, you know, the role government have to play in all of these, because she talked about a hostile environment for business, and that's the kind of thing that you're experiencing now. So that's why I go back to, what's the role is there for government to play? I'm almost certain that you did everything you can to finish all the paperwork.
Across all the channels. First of all, I think also government is overwhelmed. The volume, yeah, it is. The volume of cases, you will not believe it. Every day, somebody is fighting somebody over a plot of land. So it's a crazy mix, to use that word. But what I also think is, I think that the agency that will regulate this has to have a bit of independence too, because political pressure affects land transaction. So you've had instances where the legal owner are not able to use their site. It happens. So I think that has to come to play. And then also a bit more transparency on the side of the government too. Everybody should be able to see any transaction at any point of time. This is part of the problem, because I don't know how many people have tried to get to do documentation for your land. You cannot predict when you're going to end from when it's going to start. So it's you know, so you just have to make do.
So there is a problem in the system.
Yeah, there is a challenge in the system.
Okay, so in closing now, because we have just about 2 minutes, Madam, in solving this problem holistically and long term, what would be your recommendation in terms of standardizing? You've talked about the role that individuals have to play, that is ensure that you get a lawyer in so you don't...
From day one?
From the very beginning, so you don't end your transaction before it starts. So, but in terms of regulating and ensuring that we create a more conducive business or investment environment in building and construction industry, what are the recommendations you'd make to government?
Well, I think it would be a good idea if the government had a meeting with their stakeholders, come together, and then from there they'd be able to know what kind of framework they want to do. Because at the end of the day, land is a huge investment. It helps, it brings in jobs, it helps your local economy, it basically dictates even your inflation level. So it's actually a very important area of the economy that I think the government, not just Lagos State, should be concentrating on.
Do you see the laws we have sufficient enough to take care of all the issues?
Absolutely not. There needs to be a lot more done. A lot more done.
So the laws, the regulatory framework is not even strong enough?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. You're a practitioner. What would be your own suggestions?
First of all, I think database. An average person on the street should be able to go check and verify any particular location anytime. That is shrouded in secrecy. You need to know somebody. You need to be able to really... have you ever done a land search before? You know, very few people honestly would understand how to do it in the first place. Even if you, as a lawyer, you want to go there.
They say something Ogun State is trying to do about that. They have a map. They can say, okay, you can go to social website. You can see all the ones that are available and all the ones that are not.
All the ones that are available. Who owns it at the moment? What are the specific coordinates? What are the encumbrances on that? An average person should be able to check without necessarily having to go through a whole hog of challenge.
And even then, it's what is registered. It's what is registered that you will see.
With the state government?
Yes, you will not see that there's a court case on the land. You will not see that somebody has sold to somebody, It's only if I choose to register my interest that you'll see that I'm the owner. I can sell to you and not register or you can sell to me rather, and I choose not to register my interest.
To the state government?
Yes.
If you build data, it's
I think at this point I give up.
Can I say this?
Please, quickly.
I don't think you should. That sector can virtually change the economy. So we only need to do what we need to do.
Yeah, but it'll change the economy if only you people are transparent. People want to deal with you, but if you keep giving them, at every point you're stopping them and giving them bail, they move one step again, you give them another bill, they're going to be discouraged.
I would love to have this conversation.
If you also give them fraudulent meters, I live alone, and my bill over the last 1 year was 750,000 naira for power.
Have you approached...
And it's not 24 hours power supply.
And have you approached the management of the facility?
We have meetings with them. Oh, the cost of diesel has gone up.
Do you have a strong landowners association?
Not yet.
That's what you
All
need
of a
to
sudden,
know.
the guests have become the ones asking the questions.
Anyway, yes, we've run completely out of time, so I just want to thank you for coming, Rotola Williams, Director Grachi & Grachi, who's a property consultant, property lawyer, as well as Dr. Seyi Olufemi, who is a property developer. Thank you very much for coming to enlighten us today, even though we may need to bring you guys back, because this thing is this topic is by no means exhausted. There's still plenty we need to learn about this before we get our fingers burnt.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
So, in just a moment, we'll be discussing another matter. Join us.